Hello everyone, this is PHTV Channel 4 in Palos Heights. I'm Sue Jankowski and this is The Travel Show. We're really happy because last month Kathy was here telling us about things you can do for traveling and giving you a general overview. But today we can be more specific, and I know everybody wants to get out of town. I know I do. So, it's nice to have some opportunities that we're going to find out about today. So, we have Kathy Janes, who is here, as always, from Classic Travel. And she brought a guest that we've had before. You may remember her, and that is Katie Cannizzaro. And she comes from Royal Caribbean International. So we're talking about cruises. And I think you're going to be really surprised that we're going to give you some great ideas. And now that things have opened up a little bit, you're going to have some nice choices for cruising. So thanks, Kathy, for being with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me again. This is great.
This is wonderful.
I'm excited with Katie talking about cruises. I think this is what we really need, is to get to the nitty-gritty of what is going on, to be honest with you, and then we can really get going with these cruises, guys. You know?
I know. Get going somewhere.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of choices. And so, Katie, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
It's so great to be able to talk. We were saying, I haven't seen Katie for probably 2 years, so it's really nice to have her back again. Katie, let's talk a little bit to start with, and with all the protocols and the worries of travel, let's kind of get that started and put that aside so people know, what do you have to do to travel using Royal Caribbean?
Yes, so the cruise industry is up and running. We've carried 1 million guests since about last June, so it's so exciting. We have 21 of our 25 ships sailing, around the world very successfully. Our cruises out of the U.S., really right now the protocols are that you have to be vaccinated, 12 and up. The 5 to 11-year-olds, we are recommending vaccines, and then the 4 and under are not eligible to get vaccinated. So then you also have to come to the pier with a negative test. So you have your vaccine card, you have your negative test, and then you're able to sail. So guests are just really having a fabulous time. Our ships are sailing at about 50 to 60% occupancy, but we have the crew, we're fully staffed, they're vaccinated. It really is just, I think, a very safe environment. We did just lift our mask mandate, which is amazing, because the CDC passed something about 3 weeks ago that said you had to function at 95% vaccinated. So 95% of the ship is vaccinated. So we're able to get rid of social distancing, get rid of the mask mandate, which is really exciting because I sailed a few times with those, and it is interesting, to be in our schooner bar listening to the dueling pianos, and there's like 5 people in there. It was, I thought, how amazing. But then I'm like, you kind of miss the energy. So now I just recently sailed last week on our brand new Wonder of the Seas, which we can talk about in a bit. But it was just really nice to not wear a mask and to not have to social distance. And the kids, anybody that's not vaccinated, 11 under, have their mask on. When they're in our children's program, Adventure Ocean, we do ask that they wear the mask. But it really was finally back to normal.
That is great. And I think knowing, too, that you're at about 50 or 60%, even though you're not doing the social distancing, you are kind of naturally more distant from each other.
Yes.
Spread out because of the size of the ships.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's a really good thing. And also, it's good for our viewers to know that when you're traveling, they are asking for a vaccine. They are asking for a negative test. So, you can be more rest assured that Royal Caribbean International is following the CDC guidelines of what to do. The thing I notice about masks too, you're talking about that, going to the grocery store, not having a mask on, when you see people, I always smile at them. And so you had to do some fancy eye and now you can just, it's just so freeing, and it's so great. So hopefully we can stick with that for a while.
But a good question about the mask, the crew are still wearing masks. They're all wearing N95s, even outdoors. Even our lifeguards on our private island, all are still masked because they do come in contact with the guests and so on that do go on and off the ship and the next cruise.
Right.
So it's just that extra layer of protection that they are all masked. And it's cute. They wear a little button with their real smile because it is hard to read. We've all gotten very good at eye expression and laughing and smiling with our eyes. But so it was really nice. I'm like, oh, that's what you look like.
Yeah,
Oh, you're
cool.
so,
Exactly. Oh, that's so cute. Okay, so that should make people feel like, okay, I can bring in cruises in my desired vacation. Okay, so now where do we go I know Royal Caribbean goes everywhere, but where is either popular or new or something that people would like to do?
Right. So right before the pandemic, I think you had me on and we talked about our private island, Perfect Day at Coco Cay, which is just amazing. We've had it in our inventory for over 30 years, but we amplified it about 3 years ago. And it's just amazing. So it really is something for everyone. And many of our Caribbean cruises are going there. So we are running cruises now out of Port Canaveral, out of Fort Lauderdale, out of Miami, out of Tampa, out of Galveston, and then up in the Northeast, out of New York and then Baltimore. So it really is, where many of us could drive to, or very easy to fly in and out of, going to the Caribbean. And then soon in May, our ships, many will go over to Europe and do the Mediterranean. And then we have 4 ships that are going to go do Alaska. And, Alaska, we had some issues with Canada last year, but we have worked those out, and we have 4 ships, so 2 in and out of Seattle that are just fabulous family vacation, ships, the Quantum and the Ovation, and then 2 round trip out of Vancouver. So and they're selling very well. Vacations are available for this summer and next summer. So you could contact Kathy and her team about Alaska. Everybody, Alaska's on everyone's bucket list.
It is.
And it's domestic and it feels safe and it's just a great destination. And the tourism for them not having to, many of these islands and destinations were far hit by this, with tourism being such a huge part of their economy. So they're just thrilled to, have us back when you're in the islands in the Caribbean, they roll out the red carpet for our guests. And Alaska's really excited to have a full season this year. Last year we were able to bypass Canada in August and do a couple sailings in and out of Seattle. But this year the full itinerary, which is exciting.
That is fantastic. And it's just great to have that to look forward to. There's something you can plan ahead.
Oh, yeah.
And then you have that to look forward to. And Alaska is a place where a lot of people do want to go. So they have lots of opportunities to do that.
Just a side note, I get a newsletter every 3 months from Alaska when we were up there and we did the sailing. And in this latest newsletter, Alaska had the lowest percentage of COVID cases in the entire country.
Okay.
I think that's pretty amazing.
That's a good thing.
It is a very good thing.
Yeah.
The lowest percentage of any state in the entire United States. Good for them.
And if you've gone to Alaska before, Alaska has a lot of parts to it. So, there is a different trip you could take that isn't the same one that you started with, and see some other things.
Yeah. And I think a cruise is because so much is on the coast, but then we do have cruise tours, which there is one ship that you can do a land before the cruise, and then you get on your 7-day cruise, or you do your 7-day cruise up from Vancouver up to Seward, which is south of Anchorage, and then do a land tour. So it's, or Kathy's team can really help with any type of land.
So kind of an extension of that trip. And really getting on the land is kind of a nice thing too.
That's
you're
how
going
you
to
learn.
see
That's how we
so much
really
more.
learn so much about Alaska is on the land. We had some great bus drivers that would just tell us all these great little stories, and it was just fun to learn all that stuff.
It really is. It's great. It's a great trip for a family.
It is a great trip. And a cruise is a great way for a multi-gen, because there's really, if the grandparents don't feel like getting off the ship that day, they just want to whale watch from, up on the sun deck, they can. And then if the kids want to go dog sledding, they can go do that excursion. Yeah. And then everyone meets back on the ship for dinner and recaps their day. I think really any destination, a cruise is just so perfect for multi-generation.
It is, and you can do as much as you want. I've been on cruises where, it's a group of ladies, but some of them have, mobility issues.
Yes.
So they may or may not get off the ship, but they're having fun on the ship while their friends are off the ship. So there's really lots of opportunities for that. Okay, so you can go to Alaska. What else is the whole Caribbean islands? Are they ready to accept? I mean, because you worry about the virus. I know some places you couldn't go to. Now we're not worried about that.
A lot of
as
those
much.
restrictions have been lifted.
Okay.
There were some limited ports that the ships were able to go to, but we were really able to, that's a good thing about a cruise. If you're out on a cruise and a hurricane comes, you might not be going to the Bahamas then. Maybe you're going to quickly go to Cozumel. We're
True.
able to transition. Yeah. So there were some ports that when Omicron was high that were having issues of their own, not just they didn't want the cruise ships, they were trying to control their cases. So we were able to go to different ports that we had never gone before. But right now, except for really the Cayman Islands, which will be opening soon to cruise ships, all islands are open. And what's very good is the testing we require to come on board is the only testing the guests need.
Thank you.
So
Yes.
it's very seamless for the guests.
So you're not getting off the ship in an island. You have to do another test to
Right.
get back on the ship.
No.
That's great.
Yeah, and you don't, during some of it too, because we have been sailing since June, and so the protocols are slowly going away. There was some islands that you had to do one of our shore excursions because we were able to keep the guests and everyone in a bubble, that was very safe. But a lot of those restrictions have gone away as well. And if people have specific islands they have questions about, they can absolutely contact Kathy and her team. And our website is very, lists each port by port of what might be needed. And then the exciting thing too is you don't need a test to come back when you are sailing out of the U.S.
Oh, okay. So
yes.
getting in, you just get off the ship and you're
you're
good.
done. And now there's
Hallelujah.
like face entryway. It's just amazing. I just got off at we were on the ship, my kids and I, Monday morning, and our flight was at 9:15 out of Fort Lauderdale, which is my fault for booking such an early flight. It was 8 o'clock, and they hadn't brought the gangway over.
Oh no!
I'm like, I cannot spend the day at Fort Lauderdale Airport with 3 kids. But we were able. I mean, it's just amazing. Immigration, it's all just your face, and you walk straight through. And we got to the airport and got on that flight.
Oh,
Good for you.
Even going onto the ship, even though I know many people think, I got to show them my test and my vaccine card. If we have online check-in, it's all done on your phone. If you don't have a phone, you can still check in, however, with the papers and so on. But it really is very easy. We say, car to bar in 10 minutes. And then those littles, we do an
That's a cute motto.
I know, and it does. It's all you just show. Here's my everything on my app. Here's my passport. You've already taken your picture. You've downloaded your credit card. You walk on your room keys or at your room, so they don't even give you room keys. It's just amazing.
It's just crazy.
Well, that's one of the issues that they were showing on television, where these long lines of people were waiting to get into, at that time it was Hawaii. Well, if you listened to what you needed to do and did it, you wouldn't be standing in that long line. You would have been into Hawaii and enjoying your vacation. You need to pay attention. We talked about this the last time. You need to pay attention to where you're going. That's why the cruise ship is so great, because you don't have to do that. You don't have to pay attention to what this island needs or that island needs.
We take care of it for you.
You do it, and that's it. That is great.
And if anything
great.
changes, as I said, we pivot. We go, we were
Somewhere
going
else.
to a port in
Yeah.
the Dominican Republic that had never taken cruise ships before. And the guests
That'd
had
be cool.
the greatest time because the port was so excited to welcome cruisers, and it worked out
sure.
very well.
That's
I'm
neat.
sure they are. I know even before we started talking today, you were mentioning that not only are the ports excited, but all the staff, the crew are so happy to see the guests.
Yes. With the shutdown of cruises 2 years ago, it was very difficult to repatriate these crew members back to their countries and so on. And it was quite an ordeal, and 90% we were able to take care of the crew, assist them back in their countries. They all don't always have the testing and the medical care that we have.
Yes.
So we were really able to help them and then bring them all back. 90% are back of
That's
our
great.
original crew,
That's
and they
just great.
are, we have vaccinated them. We have provided, they quarantine for 14 days still, even though it's down to 5 days before. And then we do weekly testing, and they are just thrilled. I told you, I teared up as walking on because they're tearing up. They are so excited to welcome guests.
That's great.
Our net promoter scores, which is how we kind of judge cruises and how we're doing, are through the roof. because I think it's
the crew.
People are so excited to finally be on vacation. We've been cooped up for 2 years doing Zooms. You and I were laughing about the Zooms and what's in the background. But just, the crew, I think that is why the guests are having so much fun, because the crew just goes above and beyond. They're thrilled to be back at work.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, and that is so important to love what you do.
Singing, dancing.
Yeah.
I mean, it is just
great.
unbelievable.
I just showed my grandchildren the video of the entire kitchen staff on the stairs doing this whole dance, and it was a routine. And they said, they work there? I said, yeah, they're cooking our food. In between, they're learning this dance. I mean, it was so cute.
It is. They're just thrilled, and they really go above and beyond to make sure that you have a fabulous vacation.
Yeah. Now,
That's important.
you mentioned the Mediterranean. So there are cruises that our viewers can think about going there. What would that entail?
So that's this summer or next summer. And then it depends upon the country. Many of the restrictions are currently being lifted. And we probably start till mid-May. So it'll be interesting to see what is even required then. Some countries have dropped the testing. So we do sail out of Rome, out of Barcelona, and so on. And so it's just really at that point in time of what you would need to go.
Okay.
But lots of options for families and anybody that really wants a getaway. Cruising is a great way to kind of sample Europe, see what you like, and then in future vacations you can go back and spend longer time in that specific country. But it's nice not to have to unpack. You have an American-sized bed. We're very tall in my family, so whenever we're traveling in Europe, we like to be on the cruise ships because we can fit in the beds. And fit in the shower, or there are showers. They're not always showers in European hotels.
Yes,
that's interesting.
Yeah,
that sounds good. Now, is there anything new and exciting that Royal Caribbean has?
Well, the Wonder of the Seas is the largest cruise ship in the world, and it just started sailing last Friday, March 4th. I was on it for a 2-night employee cruise. It was just unbelievable.
I mean, they're always coming out with a
bigger and better.
Okay, so tell us about this.
So this is an Oasis class ship, which we've talked about before on here, and they're really made so it's 6,000 passengers.
Wow.
And it's made up of 7 neighborhoods, but the Wonder actually has an 8th neighborhood, which is a suite neighborhood. So there's an area that guests don't ever even have to leave. They have their own sun deck, their own pool, their own lounge, their own restaurant. So it really is that high-end experience. They have a Royal Genie, which is our butler, that really takes care of anything they need. And it's amazing. My kids were ziplining and rock climbing, and my husband was in the casino, and it was, and we were a little, because it was employees, there was probably more around 70 or 80% full, but you still didn't feel it, and the crew was just beyond. So it's doing 7 weeks in the Caribbean. It just finished, so it went Friday to Friday, so now it's the second one that's going out, and then it will go to Europe. And then it will come back, which I'm very excited about, because this ship was actually built for China, for the Chinese market, but then China has not returned to cruising as well as we have. So I was so excited that it's coming here, selfishly, and it will come back. The Wonder will come back in the fall and sail out of Port Canaveral, which is Orlando, which for us here in Chicago, it's very easy to get air. It's very down. Yeah. I actually just saw today, for people that are excited, Southwest has its $49 fares for the next 3 days. I was looking where I could book.
Yeah.
And so then the Wonder will be in Port Canaveral all of next winter. So if you're not ready to cruise now, but you want to, definitely something to think about for the fall and winter, because we have to remember how cold this winter was. Now with this little tease of nice weather, we need to remember January and February, we need a warm weather trip.
You really want to go somewhere during that period of time to kind of, bring some rosiness to your cheeks again.
Yes.
Okay, so that is something we can plan in the future too. What if somebody wants to go, like, I'm just tired of winter right now and want to do a spring trip? Can they plan something at this point for the next month or two, April, May, June, they can...
There's probably 15 ships in the Caribbean right now. 3 and 4 night are great if you just want that quick, like that's what I did with the kids. We did the 2-night employee cruise, and then we jumped on another 2-night cruise, and it was just, that went to Perfect Day, our private island. It was so nice to just relax. And the best thing too is I didn't get them the internet package, so they had to talk to me. They were unplugged. It was amazing. Even my husband spent a whole day talking to me. I don't even know what we talked about, but it was amazing.
They can talk.
Yeah. So then we also have 7 nights, you know, and then throughout the summer there are still our ships in the Caribbean. So yeah, people don't have spring break plans or Easter. You know, it's kind of a long season right now with Easter being later in April. There is still lots of availability for 3, 4, and 7 nights, really all around, you know, Florida you can go out of or drive to New York, because airfare is a little high right now for spring break. The $49 Southwest flights aren't for that March
break.
25th or March next week or the week after that.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is easy to, if you want to drive over to New York City, you can go out of Bayonne, New Jersey. It's an 11-hour drive. It's amazing to sail past the Statue of Liberty on the beautiful Anthem of the Seas.
Yeah,
and then the Oasis, which is one of those mega class ships, is going to come up and spend the summer in New York as well. So that's exciting.
That would be exciting to be on a ship and go past the Statue of Liberty.
It is,
so
and Frank
cool,
Sinatra's
wouldn't it?
playing
Yeah.
New York, New York,
Yeah.
and sometimes you know we sail year round out of New York, so you are sometimes you're up there freezing, but now you know we're getting into nicer weather, so lots of options. But there is and we also now, which I didn't mention, sailing out of LA. We have not been out of Los Angeles in 10 years.
Holy
so
cow.
the Navigator, which has been amplified, is there doing 3, 4, 5, and 7 nights, you know, down to the Mexican Riviera, because we're new in that market. There's a lot of inventory available, and the prices are unbelievable. So you should check your Southwest, because going that way, the flights might be reasonable.
Yeah.
And go on the Navigator of the Seas would be a great option.
Oh,
It has a water roller coaster on it. It has my favorite bar, the Lime and Coconut. It's 3 stories on that ship,
Oh,
which
that's
is
so
just
fun.
a lot of
That's
open
cool.
deck area.
Yeah. That's cool.
that sounds good too. So there's really a lot of options. I mean, wherever you want to go, almost.
Yes.
I mean,
You could go this Friday.
Yeah.
Call Kathy's office.
We'll get you out somewhere.
you will go somewhere. Okay, so are there any, is there like, I know some ships do like a upper Canada kind of thing up that way.
Yes.
I don't know what Royal Caribbean does as far as that goes. Is there?
So unfortunately, because of the Canadian restrictions, we were not able to do that this past fall, even though that we were sailing. But those restrictions have been lifted. So it's called the Fall Foliage. And they are very nice itineraries. So you can go out of Boston, you can go out of New York, and it does the east coast of Canada. Those are only ever available in the fall because it's for the fall
It's
foliage.
for pretty. Okay, so I'm just thinking, you know, some people still feel connected to traveling just in the U.S. or starting in the U.S., going out to the islands. That seems okay to them. So there are choices that they can do that.
Yes.
Kind of. Or Mexico, that seems like, you know, a lot of people are comfortable with that too. Okay, well, there's a lot of choices. Anything else that you want to tell us about, Katie?
Well, I think cruising is just such a, you know, a wonderful vacation, and it really is just, I think the time is now. We were seeing trends throughout this whole thing. We were really keeping our pulse on consumers and so on, and you know, we were all buying toilet paper and Pelotons and didn't know when we'd ever travel again. Paper towels. I mean, it was so crazy when you'd go to what they'd be out of. The supply chain still hasn't caught up.
No.
So, but I think now that really, truly everybody wants experiences. That's what we want to spend our money on. I want to spend this time with my kids that I'll never get back again, you know, and just really enjoy each other.
Tired of this, tired of being cooped up, tired of wearing masks all the time. They're just tired. It's the only way that I can really put it. It's just tired. They want out. I mean, they really
want to have fun.
Yes.
And I think the thing is, too, we've all not been able to travel like we wanted to. So if you wanted to do that family vacation with your kids when they are at the point where they can do a trip with you and still want to do a trip with you, you want to get started doing that because, you know, come 17, 18, they're like kind of blasé about it. You know, so you want to get them in that time. So I think planning a trip like this.
Or even trips with friends. I mean, we all had a milestone birthday throughout the pandemic, my high school friends and I. And I mean, it was horrible that we couldn't get together, you know? So it's like now is the time. So even if it's not a cruise, you know, please call Kathy's office. And it's just, you know, the time now is to travel.
It really
Absolutely,
is. And
it
it's,
is.
and it's
It
going to
is.
be, it's going to be fun.
Especially since a lot of these restrictions have been lifted, it makes it so much easier to go anywhere at this point in time. because there was so many problems before with going here. You couldn't do this. You couldn't. It was just hard for
It was a little
everybody.
bit of a hassle, to be honest.
It was a very big hassle. Yes, it was. It was a terrible thing. And now that's, forgive me for this, but that's one of the reasons why Mexico is so big right now, because there is like no hassle whatsoever for that.
Right.
You just go there.
Just go there.
And
Yeah.
the worst is coming back, because you still have to get tested to come back. But to go, you just
go.
Just go. I'm sorry, you just go. Right? It's the way it is. Right. It's crazy.
Well, it sounds like you have a lot of choices, and you can ask Kathy about that. And she is at Class Act Travel. But Kathy, remind our viewers where you're located.
I'm in Worth, Illinois. The address is 6946 West 111th Street on the corner of 111th and Worth Avenue. We're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. If you need an evening or a Saturday, just let me know and I'll be there. Our phone number is 708-448-6560. Thank you.
And if you have a specific about a particular ship or a particular trip, and Kathy doesn't know the answer, which she probably will.
Yeah,
she just
calls
calls
me.
Katie.
I'll call her.
And
We were
she
chatting at
calls
8 this
her.
morning.
And that's right. You know, she'll find out the answer for you and whip up your dream trip, and you can go off and have fun. Plan ahead, plan spontaneously.
Yeah.
Just enjoy yourself. And thanks for watching us. We will see you next time on our travel show. Bye-bye.